Sup, Ryu here for the Yugioh Council. Let's get into it. It's Let's Talk, your Friday video that you guys are the reason behind. We constantly have it every single week, so thank you all. Because without you, this series would probably not have been a thing. We did a trial and error thing, and it went. I love it. So today's topic, should cards be hit that do not affect the meta but cause problems in pretty much more casual fan base? Let's put it that way. A casual base. And the primary example of this, of course, is going to go back to Level Eater being a problem with Dark Synchro. But Dark Synchro is not topping to the level of, say, ABC. Therefore, that is the point we're driving home. Does Dark Synchro deserve a hit if it's not going to be relevant into the metagame? Does it need to be hit, or is it should we just focus the ban list stuff only on the competitive side? So we're going to talk about all that, my reasoning why they should, and my reasoning why they shouldn't. So there's a lot of how can I put this? I'm not going to put my personal opinion into it. I'm just going to put my theories and some facts behind it. So the big one is, of course, the meta. You have to take this into account, because the meta right now is comprised of ABC and Blue Eyes. All your locals, all your regionals, you're going to see the living shit out of ABC. Blue Eyes is still around. You're going to see Metaphos popping up past this weekend after the sneak peek, and of course next week when the full set is released to everyone. How do I remember that set comes out then? Doctor Strange. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. What it really comes down to is, I know a lot of people are going to instantly go, just ban the Shadow Level Eater. It's had enough shenanigans for the past couple of years. But when you look at it, it's not just, or they'll say ban Cypher Lord Omega. Cypher Lord Omega is really not an issue. It's more Level Eater in that case, and I'll explain why because of it. So, actually, no, wait. I'm getting it all confused. I believe OCG hit Level Eater and Cypher Lord Omega, and the deck still exists. So we can hit those cards, and then you're still going to have a deck that can hand loop. I've said this before, anything that can hand loop like that is instantly degenerate to the game. Now, it doesn't affect the metagame because of the simple fact that the metagame can instantly plus off of that, or just generate hand advantage, or it's not consistent enough. It's pretty much that. FTKs, OTKs, things of that sort you see all over YouTube and getting super duper hype within the community usually don't make it out to the metagame because of the simple fact that people are ready for it. It's an easy side against it. Hey, okay, Cypher and Lord Omega, 3 of them. Okay, that's cool. I know how to play against it. And that is primarily the mindset of anyone who you're going to talk about who is going to say, does it affect the meta? No, then I don't care about it. Because they're so focused on YCS, regional tops, nationals, the high level and degree of Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's respectable regardless of how you may feel. On the other side, you have the rest of the players that basically see it as something that is very degenerate and hurts the game state for them and their enjoyability from it, and they can't enjoy the game state the way that they typically do, and it just makes it less fun because it takes all the fun out. Things of that sort, things of like FTKs, it just ruins the fun when you're going to locals and someone wants to be that guy playing that deck that you do not want to sit there for 40 freaking minutes because it's not a tournament and just eat up most of your day when you probably could have had a much better experience. See, I understand both sides of the table here, and I'm going to try to connect all the pieces. Let me go back in time and take you guys here to a deck that had power but was not able to top for a few formats until basically the stars aligned and it took over the format. And the primary deck I'm talking about is Lightsworn. And what happened was, during Teledad and pre-Teledad, you had the Lightsworn pieces where the deck functioned and it was fucking amazing. But it wasn't good enough to top consistently. You would see it top, but you would not see it dominate the format. So we're going to take the whole dominating the format into consideration here while we talk about this. Konami let the deck live, nothing happened, and then of course we had about a 6-month format of, I believe, gadgets and, like Machina Gadgets and Lightsworn. or something along those lines. I remember it being Lightsworn in like 2008. Or no, 2010. It was Lightsworn. With triple Tragodia, that was the thing of the time, and of course, Gories. This instantly took over the game. That was pretty much one of the best decks you can run at that time. Had defense, had power, had tons of speed, and it was pretty much the best draw power engine that you could get at that time, which was Solar Recharge. It was ridiculous. It was nuts. Fast forward to today, most people will even agree Lightsworn's not an issue. You can easily side against it. You can easily take 2 minutes and jump over it. It looks really, horrifying because of the hybrid engines it can splash in. Understandable. What are we at right now with Dark Synchro is the same kind of scenario to some degree, which is, hey, look, this thing looks uber broken, but it's the same kind of scenario we've had with Level Eater before. It's the same kind of scenario we've had with Malicious before. It's the same kind of scenario we had with Cypher and Lord Omega. History repeats itself to some degree, and the problem is, I don't really have a problem with the deck outside of its endless loops. That's what drives it home for me. Konami's been known to hit endless loops, and we could pretty much just sit here and predict that Konami will hit it, but I think that the main way of coming down the middle and just being indecisive on the metagame, and of course the more casual guys, don't take it the wrong way, I say casual, because I'm just saying basically if you're not focused on YCS and topping and everything, you don't see it topping as much, then it's rogue, and it's not as much of a threat as, proposed, say, ABC. Just so we're clear here. So, you cut it down the middle, you go, you know what, we're going to limit Cypher and Lord Omega. That takes out the hand loop. We're going to limit X-Saber Gothams. I'm sorry, X-Saber players, but it needs to happen. We're going to get rid of that Exceed that basically is rank 9 and can rip a card. Let's put that down to 1-2. So this creates a scenario where you get the balance that the deck is still playable, but most people are going to jump off, the whole, I'm going to play it. There's not too many people playing it because you have all these other decks that go, oh, I could play this and get better results than I can with this deck. And it goes further than this, because this won't be the last time we, swing around and go, this deck is a problem, but it's not a problem for the metagame. It's going to happen again. History's going to repeat itself. It's kind of what happens in Yu-Gi-Oh! Time to time. Oh, that deck's really not an issue. Then it basically starts creeping up. And then when it starts creeping up, you want to whack the shit out of it and knock it off. And I know what some people are going to instantly say. If it's not affecting the metagame, don't bother with it. Just leave it alone, Ryu. It sparks someone to create crazy combos and make a video on it and cherry pick, replays. That's not always the case, especially with when I was doing the Dark Synchro stuff. It is goddamn consistent. I think it was only about, say, 75% of the time it was super consistent, and then maybe because YGO Pro's algorithm, it fucked up on me the rest of the time, but that wasn't too often. The hands were still playable to the point of playing out of that situation. The deck, of course, dies to back row. Back row is the answer to everything, but you have all these different variables that come into it, and you can't always count on it. It's not consistent enough to count on it, and that's why people will tell you, no, it doesn't need to be hit. Just ignore it. You're looking at the little thing instead of looking at the big thing. If you look at the big picture, you're going to see the issues, the ABCs, the blue eyes, blue eyes are really not an issue anymore, to be fair. You're going to see Metaphors and ABC and Totally.deck. Yes, that's its actual TCG name. It did not get changed. It sucks. Let's just all move ahead. Okay? Let's just all move ahead. It's okay. But it just comes down to it that if it's such an issue, especially when we have new cards coming in to the metagame, we have new cards coming in to the card pool in general. The card pool is basically the more casual side, the metagame being, of course, the metagame itself. You have all these different new options to out the Cypher and Lord Omegas. You have the new pod that is coming out. We're going to be talking about this stuff Monday, all the Invasion Vengeance stuff. I'm preparing that video, hence I'm spending the weekend doing that. It's a really long video. It's a really long coffee time. Maybe like 40 minutes to cover the entire set. That's 100 cards to cover. That's not all that bad, 40 minutes. So, what I want to say here is basically, in short, the short version, you're going to have more and more and more and more answers, but that's not always the final solution. The final solution should never just be, I have a counter to this whole problem. so X counters means the deck is balanced. It doesn't always happen that way. It's unpredictable. It may go, to become a meta deck at some point in a format for like 2 months where the format's new and we don't have deities yet or post deities. Who knows? Hell, maybe even the next game mechanic Konami decides to spit out will basically just go, you know what, here you go. You get these new cards that make Dark Synchro look like a joke. It is what it is. It happens. But to sit here and say, oh, this card deserves to be limited or hit, we can't always say that, because I know we can only look at OCG to kind of get a degree of what would happen kind of scenario, but the TCG player base, like I said multiple times, we love to play the most competitive decks to get the most wins because we don't want to lose out on time. We want the most win ratio, and the lower we can have our loss ratio, the much better. Hence, net decking is so, just perfect for getting into the competitive scene. Just pick up a deck and go. Learn that deck. Don't, overcomplicate things. Just learn your matchups. That's more crucial to learning that metagame state than it is just picking apart every little part of your deck. It's kind of one of those scenarios. Of course, you're going to have to do that, but that's just the thing. But in closing, just in short, do I think that cards are, that could be causing a problem in the more casual locals kind of basis places, maybe regionals, deserve a limitation? It depends on the scenario. I like to be picky and choosy about it. In this case, does Level Eater deserve a freaking ban? It's kind of hard to say. Does it deserve a limit? I don't even think a limit would justify it, because Armageddon Night's a thing and you can't just keep putting 20 fucking cards on the ban list to try to get out of this thing. I think anything that hand loops is instantly a problem. Anything that FTKs is a problem. But, it is what it is. It's my personal opinion. That's not factual to, the scenario that we're trying to build here. And I'm not trying to give my own personal, ideas into your brain. I'm just basically trying to piece together my part of the discussion to what I want to say without trying to force my opinion onto the whole thing. Like, this sucks! Fucking ban it! I don't want to be that tonight. Let's just put it that way. But you guys let me know. You guys be the deciding factor. Let me know in the comment section, and let's basically just kind of look at it together and see what happens. And then next week we can always kind of revisit it before we get into next week's discussion on Let's Talk, so that's something we can do. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, if you enjoy the content, you're brand new, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more, so that way you don't lose out on any videos. Finally, Let's Talk always premieres on Fridays, and you will get another one next week. Feels good. Feels good. Remember, Monday's coffee time is going to be a special coffee time that only covers Invasion Vengeance. We may not even have Ethereal in the morning, because I will be heavily working on pumping that video out to you guys, and the production time is going to be one of the longest we've had on the channel in a very long time. Probably much longer than any thing I've done for YouTube lately. So thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me that you took time out for your day, and you have a good rest of your night. And I'll see you later. Peace.